Gary Pratt is a singer, a songwriter, and most of all, an energetic country entertainer who connects with his audience. And look, he's here with us today. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
I'm doing great today as well, yes. Now, you've got a new song, which I like the name of. It's called A Song You Can Drink Beer To. So can you just describe that song for us, first of all?
Well, you know, it's the first single off the album, and I didn't write this song. It was written by Reba McEntire's niece. Yeah, pretty cool. And Autumn McIntyre, and she co-wrote it with another writer in Nashville. But when my producer brought that song to me, I heard it and I was like, you know, this is a great song, and everybody can relate to it. You know, it's a song. You don't even have to like country music to like it. But it's a song that if you're going through bad times, good times, celebrating something with family or friends, or just getting off, from work, and you want to celebrate that, whatever it may be, because you always need a song. You always need a song to drink a beer to. Yeah. No matter what the situation is. So that's why we picked it to be the first single off the album.
Yeah, and I guess if you are having a beer and you want a song to drink with it, and you just don't really know what song to listen to, you see this one and go, well, this is perfect.
This is the perfect one. That's what I say. If you don't have a song to drink a beer to, go to this one,
Yeah. So, I guess when you recorded it, did you do that in a studio, or was it at home? I take it you must have recorded it during COVID times, I suppose.
Actually, we recorded it, most of it, of the whole album, pretty much before COVID, and then when it was also hitting us. Yeah. I think the last recording we did might have been in July. I went down to Nashville and recorded some vocals with someone that we did Savannah and Nider, who did a duet with me. That was back in July, so we were still in COVID. But most of it was done, pre-COVID. But all the promotion and getting everything together and all the artwork, and I mean, that really got me through the pandemic because I was so busy with getting that all done. But the whole album was done in a studio I live near Pittsburgh. It's Tonic Studios. They do an awesome job. We did do some, like I said, at Omni Studios in Nashville. But most of it was done right here with very professional musicians, and actually the one musician did most of all the instruments, and he's a young guy. He's absolutely fantastic. Actually moved to Nashville after we recorded my album with him. His name's Adam Ernst, and he was there for like 7 months, and he got a deal with Sony for writing and also as an artist too. So he's up and coming. Also, I'm so proud to have him on my album, and he's just so talented. So I've had a lot of great people helping me out on this album. My producer, Bryan Cole, the engineer, Doug Kasper, like I mentioned, Savannah and Nider, who's on the same label as I'm on, MTS Records, and also Matt Westin, he's also on MTS, and he did some background work for me. He's a good guy too. So I've had a lot of good people on this album, and I'm just so grateful for it. And I love recording in a recording studio, not so much at home. It's just gives you that, I don't know, it's so much more professional to me. Yeah. I know you can do a lot of stuff nowadays at home, but to have something out there and have my name on it, I want it to be the best it possibly can be.
Yeah, I suppose it's just a lot more magic going to the proper place and doing it, and you know that it's going to sound great, I suppose.
I guess that is the word, magic, you know? It just makes you feel so much better about yourself too, I'm not in the basement doing this. I got actually people, you get more involved with people and you meet people too that way, and that's a big deal in this industry, industry. It's just, and I love the people I've worked with. They're so, really great people. They all believe in God like I do, and we talk about it, and we've all become pretty good friends too. So that's I just got off the phone with my producer about 5 or 10 minutes ago. So just talking, he's getting married and he wanted to tell me, and so we do things like that too. So now it's real cool,
Yeah, and I guess working with people and collaborating, it always makes it sound better because you have all these geniuses and brains together that can work at it until it's perfect.
In fact, there's a couple songs we changed in the studio. Some of the ones that I wrote, and I had actually brought one of the songs in that's on the album that I wrote back when I was like 16 years old.
Wow.
And we needed a couple more songs, and the engineer, he was like, bring a couple songs in maybe from the past. I'm like, I don't know, so one of the songs I brought in, everybody liked, and actually we ended up rewriting the whole song, and it's so like a modern country song now, and so different from when I was 15, 16, and the whole meaning of the song is completely different too. But the song turned out, it turned out great, and I'm really proud of that song. Now it has a history and a story to tell too. So you can change things. I know some writers and artists, I don't know if they just don't like to change, or they think their songs should be like this. But, sometimes you need to listen to some other people to, make the song the best it possibly can be. So, you're right about that. Collaboration and everybody putting their input in can make a song, so much better.
Yeah, absolutely. And I suppose generally the old saying of too many cooks spoil the broth doesn't seem to have as much of an impact when it comes to music, I'm guessing.
I guess not. I haven't crossed that yet, but you never know. But but I'm happy with what I got,
Yeah, absolutely. So going right back to the start of your musical and country life, how did you first get into it in the first place?
Well, I've always loved music since I was, a kid. Even before I could talk, I was, I guess, dancing around, and so I've always had, music in my blood. I remember growing up when I was a kid, like maybe 10 or 15. We'd go to like some family picnics and stuff, and people be playing guitars. And I'd had cousins that were older that had bands, and I was just fascinated, by go to a family reunion or something, and they'd be playing, and I wouldn't move. All the other kids would be out running around doing stuff, and I'm sitting there, I'm watching the band because I was just memorized by it. And growing up, I watched all the award shows and everything. And when I was in high school, I sort of had two different lives going on. I had the student life, and I didn't go to a lot of football games or different things like that. I was involved in some musical things in high school, but on the weekends, when I turned 16, my parents said, if you want to get a band, let's get some people in here. And so we had a band in my mom and dad's basement for years. And these people were older than me. And I think that was such a great benefit because they wanted to play out at different places that if I would have been with people my own age, we probably would have ended up being, just a basement band or a garage band. But being with people older, I got so much more experience, singing in bars. My parents would go every weekend. We played almost every weekend, Friday and Saturday. And so that was my weekend life, through high school. And college, I continued in different bands and different types of music. I did rock. I did top 40 dance, and was involved in, some different bands and the musical stuff at college. And after college, I played around a little bit, went to Nashville, played in some bands down there, and played almost every venue in Nashville. Even played the CMA Fest on the outside of the fest, actually, like the pre-stages. Played Tennessee State Fair. played the Bluebird, and I did a lot of things, but I stayed there about a year back and forth quite often, and got a little bit, I guess, depressed because everybody's good down there, and everybody's doing the same thing, and everybody's playing for free because you can do that. I mean, the places can have, because you want to play, you want to be heard. So everyone's playing for free, so you're not getting paid, so you have to have another job. And so I moved back home, got a real job, I guess. Yeah. And I quit singing for a while, and I just wasn't happy. And I started back up, and I haven't stopped. And I'll sing until I die. It's just, it's in my blood. It's part of my being. When I quit for a while, it was like I lost half of myself. And it's just part of, of who I am, my identity. And I love it, and I'm grateful that it is part of my identity. And that's just a little bit about how music has just taken over my life from an early age.
Yeah, and I guess that's the thing about it, because it's very rare for music to be a full-time job for people. It's a gig thing, so a lot of the financial security might not be there, especially when you first begin.
Yeah, I do have another business that actually funds my music. Yeah. So, and I would hope to get in the future to try to get some backers and that, but right now, I'm my own backer, and I'm grateful that God's given me another business that actually can fund this and let me do what I love, and I'm blessed and grateful for that. So I got 2 irons in the fire. I guess that's not a lot, but it is when they're both almost full time. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And do you have any more songs coming up on the way that you're excited about and would like to kind of give us a little bit of a sneak preview of?
You know what? It's funny you asked that, because this morning someone had asked, "What's your next single going to be?" And I'm like, I'm going to talk to Michael Stover with MTS Records and figure out, have a meeting of the minds and figure out what song we want to release next. I love this song that's out now, but I think it's time for another one. I'm not sure which one it's going to be. I do have a few songs on there that are about drinking. And just like the song to drink a beer to. Yeah. But the album actually is dedicated to my brother, who passed away about 3 years ago. And there's a long story in putting this whole album together and the songs, but the album is a life story. It could be someone's life story. It could be mine. It could be my brother's. It could be anybody's out there, from the beginning, the first song, until the end of the album. And it's like in stages. I didn't know. I knew I wanted to dedicate this to my brother in his memory, and we were putting the album together, and I wasn't feeling comfortable with I didn't know how I was going to put it together to make sense, that it would be dedicated to my brother and not just like his name is on the album. I wanted it to be something about him and different struggles that we go through life, and finding love and having heartbreaks and going out with your friends and drinking, or drinking to forget something, or just being brave and jumping right in and going for what you want in life. I mean, that's what we all go through. And that's what this life's about, or this album's about. It's about life. And I did not know how I was going to put it all together until my producer brought me the last song on the album. And it's called Something Worth Remembering. And it was written by Tony Arata, who wrote The Dance for Garth Brooks. And when I heard this song, Something Worth Remembering, it reminded me of my brother. And it ended up being the title, song of the album. The album's called Something Worth Remembering. And it's the last song on the album. But when I heard that song, I knew exactly what order, what song was going to be first, I just knew right away. And it just put it all together. It was like a key that just made it all make sense. I'm not sure what the next single will be. I know in the future I want to do some Christian songs. I want to co-write with some people. That's something I have never done. And being with this album, it's opened up a few doors that writers that are more experienced and writers that can put input and help me co-write, some of the ideas that I have floating around in my head and recorded on my phone, of course, too. But so that's plans for the future. But I'm not quite sure what song might be next. But I'm excited about just seeing. There's a lot of life left in the album.
Yeah, that's for sure. Well, where are we able to check out all your music that you have released so far? Then.
Okay, of course it's on Spotify. Yeah. You can find Gary Pratt music on YouTube. You can go to my webpage. There's links that take you to every site, the Spotify, the YouTube, the Instagram, the TikTok, all that, Facebook. My webpage is www.garyprattmusic.com. Again, that's www.garyprattmusic.com. And you hit that, you'll find photos and information about me, of course, but there's a lot of links to, they'll say, hey, listen to this song, click right here. I mean, it takes you to different, it's a pretty easy webpage to follow, but like I said, Spotify, Facebook, you can get my music on Amazon Music, Tidal, Deezer, all the music media sites. So hopefully check it out. If anybody actually wants to email me, feel free to do that. I'd be glad to, chat with you. And that's GaryPrattMusic@AOL.com. So hopefully I'll hear from some of you guys out there. I'd love to. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for joining us on the show today. It's been great to have you here.
Yeah, thank you very, very much. Thank you for your time, Toby.